Hi everybody, welcome back to the Hobby Homestead. Today I'm doing an unboxing video. I don't usually do this kind of thing, but I happen to have a bunch of garden supplies that have arrived at my door and I wanted to go through them with you. This giant box here is an order from a store that is local to me, and I really like getting my garden supplies there. This is stuff that you can order online from massive companies as well, but when possible, I like to go to local stores to get my garden stuff. And this is actually for an upcoming workshop. I shared in a previous video, I think last week, that I had received a bunch of seeds for this workshop that's for seniors in my community, interacting with others all around the theme of gardening and growing food. So in addition to the seeds, we needed a little bit of supplies to get these people started. This was the most fun paid work I have ever done, shopping for garden supplies. Well, maybe YouTube, but you know, it doesn't really count as paid. So if you know me and my seed starting setup, I typically start my seeds on 10-20 trays. I'll show you. Here's a 10-20 tray. So it's roughly 10 inches by 20 inches, and it fits a certain number of pots inside this tray, depending on pot size. For these workshop participants who possibly have never started seeds before, we're starting them out a little bit smaller. We're starting them with things that are cold hardy, so they don't even need grow lights. It's just a way to get some seeds in the dirt while you're hanging out with other people, take them home, and in like 2 weeks, you can plant them outside in whatever garden space you have. So we got these 10 by 10 trays. These are Bootstrap Farmer, and these are the inserts here that go in them. Also Bootstrap Farmer. Now this is a new design since I was buying Bootstrap Farmer pots, and I really appreciate what they've done because they put holes in the bottom for your finger to fit through, because this style of pot in the past has let no airflow in around the roots, and it's really hard to get the little seedlings out. You can poke your finger through and push the seedling out. So I'm excited for the participants to get to try these. And each of these 10 by 10 trays fits 4 of these inserts, so they can grow 16 seedlings in this tray, which should be ideal for most people just starting out. Maybe they've got a little planter, maybe they want to fill a pot with lettuces or something. So that is one of the things that we are gifting to the participants. There's also these humidity domes. And these are not necessarily for the just general seed starting. I don't think they're going to need that for these quick growing seedlings or quick growing seeds that we're giving them. These are for the microgreen kits. So there should be a combination of a tray with holes in the bottom, just a really shallow tray, and a tray with no holes in the bottom. So this is to catch your water. This is to put your soil or a hemp mat, and then your seeds, and then the humidity dome goes on top. Some people will tell you when you're growing microgreens that you need to do a blackout period where you cover the seeds with something dark so that the seeds think that they're under dirt. I used it for a while. I don't use a cover anymore, and my microgreens just grow like crazy, so they don't seem to care. I've grown a lot of different varieties of microgreen seeds and never had an issue with not using a blackout period. Of course, we'll tell the participants that if they want to, they can cover, they can put this on, they can put a towel over the top, whatever they need to do to make it dark if they want to try that. There's enough of these for almost everybody, and so it's also possible that some people may want it like this for their regular seedlings. Okay, so we have all these trays. And then the other thing in this box are these hemp mats. I used to use soil exclusively to grow my microgreens. And soil is great if you want to grow them bigger. So if you want more than micro, you want a macro green, you want to have something that's more like a baby salad leaf or something like that. Then you're going to want soil because you need something to feed those plants as they continue to grow. But when you're harvesting them as microgreens, and really they only have their cotyledons, their little seed leaves, maybe they're starting to grow some true leaves, like if you're doing pea shoots or something, those plants are still drawing on energy from within the seed, so they don't need a lot of nutrition. And in that case, I found that these little hemp mats work great because they hold onto moisture so your roots don't dry out. and they're clean. So it's really easy just to cut off your microgreens at the root level, and you don't get a bunch of dirt in the leaves. I don't even need to wash my microgreens when I grow them on these. So I thought with this pack, I think it's an 8-pack, I can cut them in half and each person gets at least one of these to start out. So that's it. And I'm actually a little bit jealous. I feel like this is the perfect size microgreen tray. I don't normally recommend buying all this plastic stuff anymore. In fact, the store where I had gotten all of this stuff, I had reached out to them a while ago, over a year ago now, to say that I was promoting them, I was telling people about them, and would they want to partner with me and like have an affiliate program and or send a product that I could try out and show people. And the only products that they were willing to send me were these things, which of course I already had a bunch of, but also I didn't want to feel pressured to promote stuff like this and give messaging like, you need this for good seed starting. Because honestly, you can use things out of your recycling bin. You can use soil blocking like I'm using now, which doesn't require pots at all. You can make pots out of newspaper. Like there's lots of other options for you that A, are free or cheaper, and B, don't require creating new plastic materials. And so I decided it wasn't worth it for me to do that partnership just because of the fact that I would have to be promoting the use of this kind of pot. I kind of do anyway, right? But it just feels a little less icky when it's not an ad. I'm not being paid to say you need to buy these things. Now, I know there's a lot of this kind of pot on the market right now. Epic Gardening sells something like this, and Charles Dowding has developed a bunch of seed trays that he sells, a line of seed trays. Even Sproutbox here in Canada now is selling these pots. Essentially, it's all the same thing. If it's some like contemporary model of pots and trays, then it's going to be this design where it's heavy duty plastic. It's designed to last. You can't go wrong if you're going to buy something heavy duty like that, because yeah, if you're just going to recycle old nursery pots or buy really, really cheap ones like from the big box stores that are not garden stores, those are so flimsy and they'll break after one season. So if you're going to buy plastic pots, go for the really heavy duty ones. It is worth splurging, spending more money on. Like you can spend, for a typical vegetable gardener in their backyard, you could spend $100 on pots and trays easily. But I think it's worth it to spend the money up front on something that's going to last you a lifetime of gardening. Whereas you may be able to get by spending $30 on all the trays and pots that you need that are really cheap and flimsy, but they will break after a year, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years, but then they will all break. Yeah, so that's my advice. If you want to get some trays and pots and things for seed starting, do spend the extra upfront and get the heavy duty ones, or explore free or just non-plastic alternatives. So I think that the workshop participants are going to have fun with these. I know I am feeling kind of jealous that this haul wasn't for me to keep. This haul is for me to keep. So I'm an affiliate with West Coast Seeds, a brand ambassador. Can't remember what they call it. Part of that partnership involves them sending me seeds that are new for 2026. They've offered before and I said no for the spring set of seeds just because it was seeds that I didn't need or want, and I didn't feel like I wanted to promote stuff that I didn't need or want or like growing. But I saw the selection for spring 2026 and they were all awesome seeds. So I said, yes, please send them to me and I will show them. West Coast Seeds is a Canadian company. I believe they ship to the US still, just not live plants. And if you want to buy seeds from West Coast Seeds, I have a coupon code. I will put that in the description along with my affiliate link. It's where I buy a lot of my seeds, but I will say they're a little pricey. I think that it's fair that they're a little pricey. I think that seeds, the production of good organic seeds can be a costly endeavor. And so the pricing is probably fair, but there are definitely cheaper places you can buy seeds. There are places you can get free seeds. So don't feel like this is your only option, but it is a good option. And it is pretty fun to shop on their website. I'm not going to lie. Okay, let's go through the seeds that they sent me as the 2026 new seeds. There is a candy cane chocolate cherry pepper. Now I've already started all my pepper seeds, so I'm not going to be growing this one this year. It's just too late for me. It's now mid-March. It wouldn't produce fruit in time for me. So I'm saving this packet for next year, but I will definitely be trying it. Candy cane chocolate cherry. It says an improved candy cane pepper that retains its stripes when mature. Just a beautiful looking pepper. Oh, they're a mini bell. Interesting. So maybe there could be time. Maybe I will stick some of these in. I'll do that today. The next thing I got was Baby Bumps pumpkins. Oh wait, there was one more thing I wanted to say about this. Speaking of the price of a lot of these seeds, this packet is $7.69 for 10 seeds. It is expensive. It is a hybrid. It's an F1 hybrid, which means that a lot more resources have gone into saving the seed. With open pollinated seeds, you can just have like a giant field of the plant and you collect up the seeds and they're all good to go. But with an F1 hybrid, somebody is manually hand pollinating 2 parent plants to get the offspring. And that just takes a lot more resource intensive, so the cost goes up. I have had luck saving seeds from hybrid plants before. A lot of these things are now proprietary, and so you're not supposed to do that. But I have done it before with a couple different varieties and a couple different species. So there's a chance you might spend this much money on these seeds and be able to save the seeds and get something at least very similar. It's worth a shot to kind of make the price easier to swallow. Now, this is similar scenario. It's an F1 hybrid. It is $5.49 for 5 seeds, so expensive, but it's a really cool looking pumpkin. And it's called Baby Bumps. There it is. And I'm all about growing good porch decor in my pumpkins. My kids don't like squash, so I'll grow like one eating pumpkin or squash. Marina de Chioggia is my favorite squash. Absolutely amazing flavor. And so I'll grow one of those, but everything else is just for like porch decor in the fall. So this is awesome for that. Nice little bumpy pumpkin. It is a semi-vine plant, which means it's not going to go absolutely nuts, which is ideal for my setting, where here I just don't have room for a bunch of sprawling pumpkin vines. And high yielding, it says. I got tomato seeds, which I will be trying this year. I had 3 places for different varieties I haven't tried before still in my garden, and this is making the cut. This is Pink Berkeley Tie-Dye Organic. It's an indeterminate tomato. It's open pollinated, and oh, it's a compact indeterminate. Interesting. I wonder how big that plant's going to be. It grows 8 to 12 ounce fruit. That's standard for a slicing tomato. It's not massive, but it's not small. Complex flavor that is rich and sweet. Yeah, I'll be trying that one too. Lots of stripes going on here. Marigolds. I love growing marigolds, and in fact, I've already sown marigolds, but this is a different kind, Starfire mix. But they are a much more reasonably priced seed than these fancy vegetables. This is $3.69 for 400 seeds. That's more like it. Yeah, I'm excited to try these marigolds. They look pretty. It's the Starfire mix. And then sunflowers. So this bed behind me, you may not be able to see it right now, my Sprout Box raised bed. I'm also an affiliate with Sprout Box, by the way. So if you're looking for a good metal raised bed that is easy to put together, just like these Bootstrap Farmer trays, it's an upfront expense, but it's going to last and last and last and last. My Sprout Box bed is right outside my dining room window. And last year we grew our corn, beans, and squash in it. It was awesome. The year before we did leafy greens all through the winter. So this year I've actually already sown spinach in that bed, which is why there's a row cover on it amidst all the snow. The spinach is like the first crop, the very early crop, because I'm all about succession planting. And I have an ebook on that, link in my description. After the spinach comes out, I will be sowing my sunflowers in that bed. And this is going to be all about visual appeal. We see it from the dining room. We see it when we're on the deck. We see it from everywhere in the backyard. And I'm sowing a whole bunch of sunflower seeds, knowing that a lot of these they're open pollinated, but they will just cross with each other. So I'm not going to be able to like reliably save seed from a variety, but I don't care. This sunflower bed is going to be all about just beauty, just for the season. And I was hoping to collect some more different kinds of sunflower seed for that bed. This is perfect timing. This says it's a Starburst Green Burst DMR. It's an F1 with high resistance to downy mildew. I love disease resistance in seeds. That is my number one reason for choosing a hybrid seed. It costs more, but like that would be why I would buy hybrid, is because of their disease resistance. 4 to 6 inch or 10 to 15 centimeter flowers bloom early. They're 4 to 6 foot tall branching plants. So very cool sunflower. I'm excited to put in my sunflower focal bed out there. Thanks for watching as we had a look at some of these garden supplies and some of the new seeds for 2026. Please subscribe, and I hope that you'll come and grow with us.